Hey everybody! I just wanted to make a quick video to show off a couple of little kind of demo programs. They're not really games. Neither of them are really games in any meaningful sense. They're just kind of software toys that I found sitting around. Actually, they've both been on my website for years, but I just wanted to make a little YouTube video about them because both of them are kind of cool in their own way. There's really not much to them. Don't expect too much from this video, but just for those of you who like the spirit of DOS games, I think you might find something to enjoy in these two programs. The first one is a sort of demo of a software program called Superscape, which I believe was later used in many other types of games and programs, virtual reality programs and things like that. You'll see what I mean when I run it, but just before I run it, I want to quickly go through the documentation file here. So here's a public domain interactive demonstration from March of 1991. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother reading through all this right now. Most of the keys are just, yeah, the keys are important, but they're mostly just view keys, like to change the camera angle and move the camera and things like that. Um, and actually, most of the keys are shown in game anyway. Um, I think these miscellaneous keys, some of these are not shown, but they're mostly not that important anyway. Um, yeah, and then activate object. Yeah, objects that you can interact with include Superscape man's head and legs. That is a pretty awesome thing to see. We'll see that a little bit later, and then yeah, so you can work with the radioactive source, the computer in the office, and offers doors and chairs. And yeah, this is from a company in Berkshire in England. And here's just a little blurb, a little advertising blurb. I mean, basically, this is supposed to be advertising for their virtual reality system. Um, and I never heard too much about this product specifically, but like I said, once you see it, let's go ahead and run it. And it should be noted that the complete virtual reality solution systems are superior to this VJ specific demonstration in respect of screen resolution, degree of detail, control, and blah blah blah. Okay, anyway. So here you go. And as soon as you see this, and especially if I just kind of move around here a bit, hold on, what are the controls for? Um, so you press I to get this help. So O and K are forward and back. So that's forward and back with O and K because it's okay to go forward and back. And then why did it go down? P and L are, wait, hold on. Okay, so P and L control the tilting of the camera up and down like that. So yeah, so you actually, the camera here is completely free form. Like you can just move the camera around. You don't actually control this guy directly with the movement keys, but you can click on him to do things with him. If you click on his head, remember it said you can interact with his head? This is pretty awesome. Like if you click on his head, you can actually start to drag it around like that. And I don't know why it stops. Like you can only move it a little bit at a time, but if you keep dragging it like that, you can actually make his head continue to spin around so that yeah, it doesn't seem to have any restriction on the range of motion. It's just kind of it just seems to rotate freely, so you can kind of, oh, does it not want to go beyond that? I thought, yeah, there we go. It actually, there we go. Yeah, you can rotate its head all the way around, kind of like in The Exorcist. And if you want to make him walk, there's no key to make him walk. There's no keyboard key. Instead, you click on his legs, and that gets him walking. And you can follow him with O to move the camera forward. And if you click on his legs again, it makes him stop. So yeah, that's how you control the guy. You can't control the guy with the keyboard. You control him by clicking on him with the mouse. So that's that. And let's see, how do I go up? Yeah, there we go. R lifts up the camera. So here we can get kind of a more of a bird's eye view of the place. So the environment here is fairly small. There are two cars. There's this blue car which doesn't actually move around, and then there's that red car which is driving around, and you can control it if you want to. There's also that helicopter there, and easiest thing to do, if you look here, you can see how it says F5 to F9 control objects. So F5 is to control this guy. F6 controls. This was also in the README file, which I just read, but in case you didn't catch it, yeah. So F6 lets you control this car, and you can actually use the arrow keys. So the car was driving by itself, but the reason why it's going all screwy now is because I'm actually using the arrow keys to change its direction. So you can slow it down with the down arrow, and even go in reverse with down arrow, or you can make it go forward again with up arrow. So I mean, the controls are similar to any driving game like Grand Theft Auto or any other game like that where you control a car like this. And if you just leave the car, you can also just leave the car sitting like that, and then if you go up with the camera like that, yeah, so the car begins by moving around, but you can just make it stop and then it will just stop. F7, yeah, it's just an external view of the car. F8 is this blue car, but this car does not... Oh, wait, it does move. That's interesting. Last time I tried it, I couldn't get it to move. I must have done something wrong. Okay, so the blue car does move as well. So you can get it driving around, get it to crash into buildings and things like that. I mean, it's basic car controls, just like in any pretty much any driving game. And then F9 is that helicopter. So again, you can the helicopter is just going in a big loop around the map, but you can change that. Like if you, by using the left and right arrow keys, you can change the, the rotation. Like you can yaw the helicopter around. You can hold back. You can hold the down arrow to make it slow down. There you go. Now the helicopter is just hovering more or less. I guess it's still moving a little bit, but it's mostly hovering. And you don't have to constrain yourself to these objects because, again, just using the keys on the keyboard, you can move yourself around and look at anything in this area. So that's the objects that we saw are the most interesting things in pretty much the most interesting things in the demo. There are sorry, I'm not used to these keys. Hold on. Up is, wait, no, that's to, how do I, okay, Q and W are left and right. What's going on here now? Am I stuck or something? For some reason I don't. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, that's one thing I forgot to show. If you press D, I must have pressed D at some point. D changes the detail. So this is the highest level of detail. If you press D again, you can see it takes off some of the windows off some of the buildings. If you press D again, yeah, then it takes off the rest of the windows, and the guy suddenly becomes some kind of a, I don't even know how to describe that. He becomes well-defined. Oh, it seems like his mouth is, I never realized that. His mouth is actually moving for some reason, as if he's speaking to someone. It's odd. But anyway, yeah, he becomes low definition like this from a distance, but if you get up close to him, suddenly he becomes highly defined. And the car, yeah, so basically everything. Actually, I guess it moves mostly, no, I guess not. I was going to say, maybe it just changes the draw distance, but actually it doesn't, because the buildings remain windowless even if you go right up to them. But the guy becomes defined when you walk up to him, but then he becomes kind of a stick figure when you move away. So most of these buildings have nothing inside them. I think the only building that has anything inside is, where is it? It's the building with the Superscape logo on it. So it's basically, I guess, supposed to be like the office building of the company that made this demo. Where is it? It's somewhere around here. Hold on. What is this sign? Atrebatum Park. Is that an actual park? That might be the actual name of the park where these folks were located. Oh, I guess I should turn the detail back up to, yeah, let's keep the detail up so that we can see so that we can see stuff. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so here's the building with, how do I go up? There we go. With the Superscape logo. Nice. And you'll notice, if you look at the radiation meter in the lower left, it's now going up. So ambient radiation, most of this area is around 10, or if you go farther away, even less than 10. But once you start getting right up to the Superscape building, then yeah, it goes way up because there is a source of radiation here. And I guess it's probably... I'm going to guess that it's this red thing here. Actually, the fact that it appears to have a radioactive symbol on it pretty much gives it away. Because yeah, my radiation level now is around 666 actually. But if you click on this, it disappears. So I don't know if it just... Do you just throw it in the trash and that suddenly removes all radiation from the area? I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway, so yeah, the computer seems to not react at first. Like if you try, hold on, there we go. If you try clicking on the computer, you can do all kinds of stuff here. Click on the disk drives here, click on the monitor, click on the keyboard. But in the documentation file, it did mention that there is a switch on the side. So let's see if we can find the switch on the side. How do I move to the left now? Q and W rotates left. Oh, H and J. Of course, it's H and J. Why wouldn't it be? H and J. Where's that switch on the side? Is that it? I can't tell. Oh, it looks like it did. There we go. That's got the computer on. So now you can see the computer is showing, of course, the Superscape logo. And can we interact with it at all? No, it's not. At first I thought it might be kind of like, you know, you sometimes see one of those pictures where the picture is in itself, and so the picture just keeps repeating endlessly. Like inside the picture there's a miniature of the picture itself, and then of course in the miniature is an even smaller miniature of the picture itself, and you just keep seeing the image repeating infinitely, getting smaller and smaller each time. I thought maybe it might be kind of like that. Like maybe we could actually play this demo on the computer, but no, it's not to be. It doesn't look like we can actually do anything. Can't even turn the monitor off. Yeah, none of the keys react. Yeah, I don't think we can do anything with this. The other thing that you can interact with here, I guess, is it said you can interact with the doors. So yeah, you can click on the doors and they will open in response to your clicking on them. And the windows? No, I guess the windows don't do anything. But I mean, that's pretty much it. Oh, maybe the chair. I think the chair was the other thing. No? Oh yeah, you can spin the... Yeah, if you click on drag, I guess if you can like drag the mouse over the chair to make it spin around. Although it doesn't seem to work consistently. Maybe I'm too far away, maybe that's the problem. But yeah, you can make the chair spin, so thrilling. I know it's definitely entertainment at its finest. So, like I said, there's not much to this. I mean, it's a very small environment. There's really not much here. It's a few buildings, and all the buildings are empty except for that one Superscape building. And then you get just, you get the 3 vehicles, 2 cars and a helicopter, the guy who walks around, and then just pretty much just a handful of trees and bushes, and that's pretty much it. And over here there's a garbage dumpster, which I think is non-interactive. Yeah, I don't think you can do anything with it. So that's pretty much it. We've already seen pretty much all that there is to see here. There's an automatic control. I wonder what happens if I say automatic for this guy. Okay, the guy can't be made automatic. I think the only things that run on automatic are the red car and the helicopter. Or maybe not. What's the helicopter? Oh yeah, the helicopter is back to circling around by itself again. So yeah. So I mean, there's really not much to this, I'll admit. It's a very small and simple little demo. It's certainly not that impressive, but I just like this sort of snapshot in time because this was how people thought about virtual reality back in the day. You had a handful of objects that you could interact with. You'd click on the objects to create some kind of meaningful interaction with them. You'd move around, you'd move the camera around, and that was it. That was virtual reality. There wasn't really much concept of a game in this environment. There wasn't really much concept of winning or losing. And VR is still kind of like that today. I mean, VR games are still mostly very simple affairs. It's still really a technology that's in the stage where people are just kind of experimenting with it and having fun with it. I don't know of any really serious VR games that really that are designed from the ground up to be VR and that actually are fully realized AAA titles with a complete storyline and professional graphics and everything. I've seen a lot of VR games. I know it became kind of the fad, it sort of had a resurgence a couple of years ago, but it still really seems to me like it's still in its infancy in the sense that people still haven't really figured out what they want to do with it. So I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe it will continue and develop somehow. I don't know. But I thought this was an interesting little snapshot. Seeing sort of the history of VR as people thought of it back in the early 1990s. Anyway, so I think we can just press escape to get out of that, indeed. So that was the Superscape virtual reality demo. And then the other thing I wanted to show was just a little thing called 1 ton. Now this is even simpler. There's nothing to it. Let me go ahead and type 1ton.txt. Yeah, it's controlled by the mouse, coded in Borland Pascal, assembler by Martin Magnusson from Nybro, Sweden. You can send a postcard to Mr. Magnusson on Östgötagatan. Yeah. Gosh, and people think that Finnish names are difficult. So yeah, it's a cool little example of ASCII art there, and then there's this file ID diz file here. Crush the tiny men with your 1 ton weight, needs Sound Blaster. I actually find this program useful for testing. If you have a DOS machine sitting around and you want to quickly test Sound Blaster functionality, it actually works well, or in DOSBox as well if you want to test the sound. It works well as a sound test because it does actually play digitized sound. You see those 4 files there, 1234.ton? Those are data files. I don't know what the first one is. The 3rd and 4th files are actually raw audio files. If you import them into a program that can play raw audio data, like for example Audacity can, you'll actually hear those are the 2 sound effects in the game. And 2 or 002.ton is actually a PCX file that contains the graphical assets for the game. And then 001.ton, I don't know what that is. It's a small file. It obviously has some importance, but I never figured out what it contains. But anyway, let's go ahead and run this, and we'll see what it looks like. So this is it. This is the whole game. Basically, you just control this weight with the mouse, and it has 2 sound effects. One is the sound of the weight landing on the ground or on this thing here. And this thing on the right here, it looks kind of like those old dynamite plungers. You see in old cartoons, there'd always be this kind of thing that you would push down and that would act as a detonator for dynamite. But in this game, or I hesitate to call it a game, but call it what in this program, if the weight lands on that thing, it releases one of these creatures. And I'm pretty sure they're meant to evoke lemmings. They look kind of like lemmings from the Lemmings games. But you can't do anything with them except have the weight land on them. Like that. And if it lands on them, then then you hear that scream. So those are the 2 sound effects. One is the scream and one is the thud. That's it. That's really all there is to this. If you want to get crazy, you can release lots of these guys and then just go and pound them. If you bring down the weight too fast on them, it kind of you don't hear the scream very long because the thud of the weight will cancel out the sound of them screaming. But if you sort of try to keep it floating off the ground a little bit, then so I mean, yeah, that's it. It's kind of like it reminds me, actually it might be from the same people. I don't know if this is from the same people. There used to be some game, about horribly killing cute bunnies in a very bloody fashion. It was some old DOS game. I remember it was from a Swedish developer, but I don't know if it was from the same person who made this. But it kind of reminds me of that. It was a very cute game. It had these really cute, fluffy, colorful bunnies in a cute kind of world like this. But the whole point of the game was just to kill them in as bloody a way as possible. I don't know why they did that. It's a little gruesome, but yeah, it was kind of like this. It seemed like kind of in the same spirit as this, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was from the same developer. But anyway, I mean, this is something kind of cool. I find this cool just because in such a small program, I mean, look how small the program is. It's 11 kilobytes, or a little over 11 kilobytes. And in 11 kilobytes, you have a program which gives you a 256 color VGA screen and plays digitized Sound Blaster sound effects. Okay, if you add in the size of the raw digitized audio, then the whole program with data files together is about 20 kilobytes. Very small program, very simple program, and obviously not really a game in any sense because there's no winning or losing, but it's a toy. It's a little software toy. So that's really it. That's all I wanted to show in this video. Just two little things which, like I said, neither of them are very impressive, are they? They're certainly not something that you would spend a lot of time with. But just in terms of recalling the days of DOS and the days when people actually played with stuff like this and, made and used little programs like this for fun stuff like this, I thought this was a nice little trip down memory lane. Because even if you haven't seen these programs before, it probably reminds you of what it felt like to play DOS games back in the day. I think whenever I run these programs, whenever I think about these things, to me these sort of embody a certain spirit of the spirit of the times, the zeitgeist of playing DOS games back in the 1990s. So I hope that you folks enjoyed. I hope that there was some merit to this video. And yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.